I'm very honored to be here and just like see some of the products coming out. It's incredible. I know many of you have like not slept at all, so good morning. We'll keep it as high energy as we can. And before we get started, can I actually ask you a question?
Sure thing.
Just thought I'd reverse the interview for a sec. Alex, I don't know if everyone knows, Alex is one of the co-founders of CalHacks. Can you tell us about the story of how it got started? Were you or were you not the first big hackathon before Stanford? And anything you learned from it?
Absolutely. Back when I was a sophomore at UC Berkeley, I was a part of a bunch of student groups, and we would go on these trips to other schools, like MHacks in Michigan, Penn Apps at University of Penn, and LA Hacks. And we went to the LA Hacks one with a bunch of our friends. And I was like, why is this happening at UCLA but not happening up in the Bay Area? We have so many amazing hackers at UC Berkeley. And I'm like, I feel like there's so much untapped potential. And so we got a group together. It was in the basement of Wheeler. And we decided to one, name the event, and then also like find the right venue for it. It was really, the very first event was really actually a hack. We didn't really know how many people would show up, if it would work or not, if the Wi-Fi would be working. It all came together in the span of about, I'd say about 6 months. I initially had an internship lined up over the summer. I decided to cancel that and put that on the side so that I could actually focus on just delivering for this event. It ended up being bigger than any of us ever imagined. It was a true celebration of like UC Berkeley hacking culture. And we ended up setting up the student group and kind of keeping the flame alive past that.
And you beat Stanford to being the first big hackathon Bay Area?
Yes, we beat Stanford to the punch. Tree Hacks was started by some really good friends of mine. Great hackathon as well, but I'm obviously a little partial to the one here at UC Berkeley.
Awesome. Well, I have lots more questions for you, but I'll let you get started.
Awesome. I want to actually start pretty far back. So you, back when you were in high school, you were building robots and websites. And I'm actually curious how some of those like early experiences you had led you to pursue computer science at Brown and like your interest in general in making.
Yeah, I mean, I was interested in programming from basically young age. Never had access to all the tools I wanted. But as I started to get access in elementary school with a basic compiler, middle school with Lego robots and LabVIEW, which amazingly has not changed since I was in middle school. And then, high school, having the chance to get like a virtual private server, started to share that with my friends. And I got into PHP, probably learned bad habits, but also got to be in part of the local robotics club where I did a lot of other stuff that was not programming as well. Other folks in the team were taking a lot of the mantle on there. But went on to study CS at Brown, and it was an incredible experience. Didn't stay there, unfortunately, the entire time. Ended up going to Figma after 2.5 years. But the foundations from Brown were really instructive and informed me every day.
Absolutely. And when you were at Brown, you actually, I heard, started a hackathon yourself. Could you tell me a little bit about like why you did that, but also like how that went in general?
So this is a pretty embarrassing story, and I don't think I've ever told this in public. So yeah, here we go. People say comedy is like tragedy plus time, and this is like 2011. So 14 years have passed. I hope it's funny now. Basically, I was starting to see hackathons come up. It was 2011. So I know now hackathons are just like a part of the tech vernacular. Obviously, there's hackathons. But back then, it was like a cool new thing. And very few people were doing them. And really wanted to do one for the local area. And so I wanted to organize like a regional hackathon for New England. And so I came up with that plan. I was part of a student group called the CS Department Undergraduate Group at Brown. Trying to get my friends involved. They all were like, yeah, but I didn't really delegate anything to them. So it's basically like, me doing a hackathon like, I don't know, 6 weeks or something.
Wow.
From start to finish. And
It was a hackathon.
we called it the New England College Hackathon without realizing that the word neck sounded really bad. So like definitely the brand was off. Got a sponsor to host us. Big deal. Microsoft, their New England Research Development Facility, better acronym, NERD. They host us in their beautiful office. Did not realize that would mean that the first hour of the hackathon was everyone was going to be locked in a room to listen to a tech talk about like an obscure Microsoft technology that never would be used. But that happened. So that was the first thing that was like, oh, this might not be going right. And then the person that actually was sponsoring us, he was walking down the stairs at like midnight and he tripped and broke his teeth, had to go to emergency dental care. And then, we ran out of food at like 4 a.m. Turns out in New England, everything's closed. And then, at some point during the night, I got comfortable. I was like, maybe things are, the dental surgery, it's like he's in the surgery now, it's okay. And all settled in and just kind of like work with a team and hack on something and be fun. And so helped out some friends. We later wanted to show off what we had done. Did not inform the judges because I was totally sleep deprived after an all-nighter that, like, of course they should not judge us because I was part of the team. I thought that was obvious. And then was surprised when they gave us the first place award for the hackathon that I organized. And obviously did not accept that award, but all these hackathon attendees that trust me thought that I had. So yeah, that sucked. It turns out, bottom line, these events are super hard to organize. And you should definitely thank the CalHacks team because they did an amazing job.
Yeah, we definitely had some, hopefully not real fires, but, near misses like in the very first event. So I fully appreciate just how out of left field some of these problems can be.
Turns out when no one sleeps, it gets a little chaotic.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned that you were at Brown for 2 years, and you had this really great Twitter thread just the other day with Paul Graham talking about, so Paul Graham said that you probably shouldn't drop out of college, but you responded with some ideas can't wait. What gave you the conviction to stop out of Brown and pursue Figma?
Yeah, I think first of all, it's a good use of the phrase stop out because my point of view at the time was I can always go back. Brown's going to be there. It's still there. And I expect in 100 years, Brown will be there too, as will Cal. And I figured I could always, revisit this. And Brown has a great policy of like 5 years go by, that's when you have to reapply. Before that, it's very easy to take a break. And I had an amazing TA, Evan Wallace. If you doubt me, check out his GitHub, github.com/EvanW, and you'll see his greatness and genius. And I thought I'll learn more working with Evan for any amount of time he'll give me than I'll learn anywhere else in the world. And whether this works or doesn't work, it'll be amazing. And so then I was talking with Evan about, would you ever start a company together? He said, I'd be down to explore it. And we basically were like, okay, what tech trends are we excited about? This is late 2011 now. And we talked about drones, WebGL, and we have a lot of other stuff, but those are the two we focused on. Evan was like, no to drones, did not like defense, was concerned about the regulatory challenges, and so WebGL, here we go. And we started exploring, and just the process of hacking together on stuff with Evan and seeing how brilliant he was, learning from him, that was just like built my conviction even more. And I was applying for the Teal Fellowship in parallel. At that point, it took a long time to apply, and it was like a 6-month process. And at some point, though, it was like, okay, whether we get this or not, either way, we should go do this. We'll figure it out.
So, meeting Evan was really one of the critical, kind of inflection points, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think right now it's like y'all are surrounded by so many brilliant people, and you probably all can think of one person that you've met at Cal or through your time in the Bay Area, and you're just like, wow, if that person, I had a chance to work with them, holy shit, it would be like totally life-changing. Probably everyone has that person in mind. I'm seeing some nods. And it turns out you can just go work with them on stuff. Like, what's stopping you? Maybe you did at this hackathon. Maybe you're going to do it at the next hackathon. Or maybe you're going to just, find a weekend to spend together next weekend or something. Like, there's nothing stopping you from going, doing cool stuff. So, yeah, I'd say if you're a student, at this point, more than ever, the notion of a degree is pretty arbitrary. It's a bundle that is supposed to point to your basically ability to persist through whatever number of years it took you to get it. It's supposed to point to a bunch of knowledge you accumulated along the way. And I think that what's actually important is the student experience. And what's actually important is whatever you're learning from your classes. If you've got a class you're taking that you're not actually learning from, like drop that shit like it's hot. If it's a requirement, question the requirements. And I would argue that in a few years, you're not going to care about the degree. And what you will care about are the people you've met and the knowledge you got to learn. And some knowledge is hard to learn outside of university than other knowledge. So, pick and choose wisely. Like, I definitely have not been able to figure out how to study pure math after leaving Brown. Like, maybe if you're smarter than I am, you'll figure that out. But for me, that was tough. Other stuff, you can just look it up now. It's so easy. So, don't wait if you got a great idea. It won't be around forever. The opportunity will pass, and you're the judge of that.
It's amazing. So in 2016, you said that the next decade was going to be the decade of design. And we're now here about 9 years later. And I think, I would love to, hear your refreshed take on that, but also what the next decade ends up looking like now with AI making software easier than ever to create.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, first of all, we were definitely right in that if you just look at the job growth for designers over the past 10 years, it's been absolutely incredible. And then the question is why? Why was that true in 2016? And is it true today? If it is, why? And I think that in 2016, already we saw the value moving up the stack towards design, towards craft, towards great experience. And today, with AI, we're now in a world where the growth of software is just absolutely exponential. It used to be in the dot-com era that if you built it, they would come. That was the phrase. Because it was really hard to build shit. You had to go and actually figure out how to get managed servers somewhere. And you had to go figure out how to box up your software and send those boxes to distributors, right? This was not easy. There's a lot of problems you had to solve, and developer experiences around creating software were not very good. Now, you can create software so fast. So what is the reason that you win? Well, it's design, it's point of view, it's craft, it's brand, it's marketing. You have to get those things right if you want to win. And that's why I think the downstream effects of AI and software development becoming faster are that you actually have to focus more on the user experience, more on the craft, more on why it's going to be delightful, and you have to have a point of view. I think for any company now, if you're going in with a point of view that's just obviously everyone will agree with, you're doing it wrong. So your point of view has to be a kind of spicy take. And if it doesn't register as spicy when you talk to people about it, if some people don't agree, if everyone agrees with you. If you don't have some people going, oh, you're totally wrong, you're an absolute idiot for working on this, then you should question if you're on the right thing.
Absolutely. One of the new exciting areas of AI these days is around MCP. And for those in the audience that aren't familiar with the acronym, it's Model Context Protocol. And it's a way that different services that use AI models can communicate with one another and share their data. Figma recently released a Figma MCP server. And it allows you to bring design context into various AI IDEs that you're using. I'd love to learn a little bit more about what is design context and how do you see it fitting into this new development workflow that's kind of emerging?
Absolutely, yeah. I think that in today's world, Figma's MCP is a way to get data out of your Figma file faster and go build something. So if you have used auto layout, variables, you're able to really easily get that information out and go from a design to a prototype fast. And that's awesome because it is actually really exceptionally fast. I know some people at the hackathon have told me already they're using it. Really cool. There's so much more we can do, which I think your question gets at. If you think about all the design context you build up in a team or an organization, it's a lot. And a lot of it can be inferred from the way you work. A lot of it is implicit, tacit knowledge. And there's so much more that I think we can explore there. So yeah, I think that that's kind of one of the biggest areas for Figma right now is figuring out how do we build that context and then communicate it the right way. So we're not overwhelming like a model, but instead giving it the right knowledge at the right time and have that loop going all the time so we can understand, okay, we gave you some knowledge, you did some things with it, what can we give you more to improve the design?
Absolutely. It's like a closed loop that like involves like a full ideation plus development process. Yep. One of the other new product launches from Figma is Figma Make, and that allows anyone to really go from idea or prompt or design all the way to a deployed application. What are some of the unique ways that you've seen people incorporate Make into their like kind of day-to-day workflows, whether it's at Figma or just in everyday life?
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool to actually be in an environment where you have a tool and can so easily prototype and actually make applications. Especially if you're not coming from a CS background, this can be really impactful for folks. And so I think our thesis when we started Figma Make, and by the way, Alex should disclose he's doing a lot of work with Figma Make. So he's got plenty of answers here too. But I think that our initial hypothesis was this will be prototyping. And what we've actually seen is people make entire applications both on the web as well as internal tools with it. And some of the most creative things I've seen, first of all, I'd say that the way people use debug panels is really cool. I know this is like kind of a geeky detail,
Yep.
but I think it's really interesting because if you can make the proper debug panel, then you can show a prototype in many different forms in Figma Make. And then I've also just like seen people go and make these incredibly high craft, polished experiences with it. And how far you can push this is also really incredible. I think that in general, though, the most creative ways to use these models, if I'm just going to take a step back, is figuring out what is like sort of the language that the model uses and what are some of the key terms that really it indexes on. And the more that you can kind of dive deep with an LLM and go understand that, the better. And so many people, I think just like write basic prompts, you can really level up your prompting game by understanding how the model thinks, what language it uses, and using that to explore the semantic space better. I also think there's a trick with like, once you have a lot of characteristics, models are really good at combinatorially exploring that space in a way where you can kind of sample from it that otherwise is very hard to do. So I'd explore that as well if you're really into kind of like getting deep into LM internals.
Absolutely. Yeah, when we were building, just double clicking on that, when we were building Figma Make, I don't think we fully appreciated all the different ways that it was going to end up being used. And one of the really interesting things I've seen is that designers actually are building their own tools now, kind of their own creative tools on top of it, and able to explore far more of the design space as a result.
Yeah, I've seen some like epic typography tools and animation tools, people like going and making these micro interactions that are totally wild. As well as just like, yeah, I want this thing that works for my use case internally. It's all across the spectrum.
Absolutely. So with both Make and MCP, I think one of the like kind of critical things that we're seeing is that there's kind of this blurring of roles and responsibilities in the product building team between engineering and product and design, but also between prototype and production. For those in the audience that are considering like what their jobs might even look like in the future, how do you think of like where to apply themselves? Like where should they be learning to design? Should they be learning to code? Should they be learning to prompt? What do you think is the like roles of the future look like?
Well, I think this is really important for everyone here. Everyone here should be building as much of a generalist skill set as you possibly can right now. And so you should be trying to learn and be curious about as much as possible. And also you should be deep on something. I don't think the roles have been going away based on what I've seen so far. I've thought that roles were blurring in terms of like how they actually interacted for basically the last decade before anything was being talked about with AI. But I think really it's responsibilities that are blurring. And so people still have those roles. You still have a developer, a product manager, a designer, a researcher on a team. It's just that all of them do more of what other folks were expected to do before. And if you want to be kick-ass at any of the roles, you should be good at all of it. I also think, just to put it out there, there's a lot of media that's telling all of you right now that companies are not hiring for junior roles, that junior roles are going to be really impacted by AI. And I look at this and I'm just like, oh man, if I was in college right now or someone about to graduate, I'd be freaked out by that media. And whatever the ground truth is right now, the other thing I would just say is, first of all, it's not true universally. Like, we are literally hiring for junior roles, as well as I think that everyone's got it wrong. Like, y'all are AI native in a way that others are not. People will figure out very soon that is a strength, and you should lean in on that. And it'll not be long, I think, before people realize that that's actually a superpower, to actually understand deeply how to use AI to speed up your work. And they'll be looking to recruit you in perhaps in place of people that are maybe mid or senior very soon. So I would just have optimism, and obviously the world is going to change very fast. All of you are going to change along with it, and you're going to be faster at making those changes than anyone else.
Absolutely. I think it's pretty clear that like young people almost always have like a pulse on what comes next in a way that maybe some of the even more tenured folks just aren't maybe quite ready yet to accept. But it's coming. So you've talked in the past about how we're still in the MS-DOS era of AI, and that chat and natural language is really just the beginning of what these interfaces will look like. How do you imagine that we can build more interactive, rich, experiences with AI that go beyond just chat boxes and prompts?
I think that it's just the fact that LMs are able to be like this spaceship in this hyperdimensional latent space. And how do you steer it? Well, your compass right now is a prompt. And I think creativity often comes from actually taking the amount of dimensions, the amount of ways that you can explore something, and dimensionality reducing, adding more constraints in. And then if you have the right constraints, then using that to then explore further. And what I think will happen is we'll start to see, okay, you don't actually need all the LLM for every task. So instead, let's go dimensionality reduce into an interface or into a different type of prompting experience. And through that, help people explore further, but with constraints. So I'm really excited to see that. I'm not saying it's like a 2x2 matrix. I think that's too far. But I think it's something bigger in terms of the number of dimensions you have, but not as big as like your full, 600 billion parameter LM.
Yeah, I'm really excited about what some of these new interpretability, but also just new modalities for how you can access consistent parts of the latent space. I know I see artists all the time sharing their SREFs for Midjourney to get the exact right style in a consistent fashion. And I wonder what more things like that are there just on the horizon.
Yeah, I mean, there should be so much more we can explore here.
Exactly. So one thing that Figma is really known for, both internally and externally, is its really strong maker culture. And that's kept alive by a tradition that happens every year called Maker Week. Can you tell me a little bit about how Maker Week came to be and why it's been so important to have Maker Week as Figma has scaled?
Yeah, Maker Week, the first one was when we moved into a new office. I think it was 2017. And it was this week where we were both going to be in a new office. Everyone was getting acclimated. And July 4th was on a Wednesday. And between that, kind of everyone had given up and gone, oh, well, this will be kind of like a week that nothing happens. And I said, great, we can do Maker Week, because I've been advocating for it for so long, and basically having a week-long hack week. And no one had any arguments for this week to say, no, we shouldn't. Whereas every other week before that, they're like, oh, there's so many priorities, blah, blah, blah. So right away, the creativity was just incredible, and people made stuff that became features, products for us, even that first week. And I think as we've seen across many Maker Weeks now, sometimes we do it twice a year, sometimes it's one big one a year. We also have hack weeks, hack days. Maker Week is really for the whole company. And the only rule is make Figma better in some way. And we've seen just so much innovation from it. And I think it's, it's tempting to say, okay, look at how much can get done in 24 hours now, 36 hours, that there's a bias towards that short form hackathon cycle. But I think actually giving yourself the space for a whole week and saying, yeah, we're not going to do any recruiting. We're gonna cancel all the meetings. If you're not on something that's absolutely mission critical, go do Maker Week. it gives people the space to just really ideate and think big. And I think that's why we've seen so much innovation from it.
Yeah, I've seen now 2 Maker Weeks, and it's like probably the most fun week like at the company each year because everyone is involved. It's not just even engineering; it's like product and design, and everyone's really like participating in it. There's actually a few products that have come out of it, including you could kind of trace the lineage of Figma Make and FigJam, I believe.
Yeah, FigJam, Figma Make, Figma Slides, Buzz. There's so many that have come out of Maker Week. Like it's literally half our product lineup, and beyond that, so many things that will come out in the future also trace back to Maker Week. So stay tuned.
Absolutely. So it sounds like Figma in general like prioritizes this like maker ethos. What are the other like attributes of people who really thrive at Figma?
Well, yeah, I think first of all, definitely we put that bat signal in the sky of not just maker culture, but creativity and design. That's what our product is. People see it, and the right folks are attracted to Figma because of it. I would say, in addition to that, people that can run through walls, people that have a point of view, people that are willing to advocate for that point of view, people that are curious, have a growth mindset, and are always looking to improve themselves, and people that have a high level of craftsmanship with the awareness that like you don't always ship with the craft you want. Sometimes you prioritize speed to market, and you work on craft later, and sometimes you prioritize craft, and you're actually like more unbounded in when is this going to hit. You have to have like sort of both that you focus on different times. But I think those are the folks that really thrive at Figma, and so that's what we're looking for as we hire. And definitely, like we are hiring, so check out our careers page.
Absolutely. So you've seen quite a few tech hype cycles. There have been like multiple crypto boom and busts while you've been CEO of Figma, but you've seemed to have a really good pulse on like where to apply yourself. And I'm curious, like, how do you like distinguish the signal from the noise? Like, what is truly? How do you find out what's truly transformative and where to spend your time?
I think it goes back to curiosity and always looking for like what's on the fringe. And for me right now, I'm super excited about AI. Obviously, we all are. I was all of yesterday playing with an unreleased model. I can't say anything more than that. And just like literally, I was wiped from the week, so I was kind of like falling asleep in my bed, and then like Make would ding, and I wake up and do another prompt and fall back asleep. So I'm like going deep on that, of course, but also I'm always looking for okay, what's next? And I think that there's always an interesting question to ask about okay, what stays the same and what changes? What are the things that become possible as you unlock another part of the tech tree that bloom and blossom into so many more possibilities? And I also am always looking for like, okay, what are the folks who are like the smartest people I know, the people that have a fresh perspective, like what are they excited about? And where are they looking? And sometimes it's like totally non-consensus, and they are in a place that's just not where everyone else is in. And that's what I think is most exciting. And I would say that as you're thinking through, okay, what can actually radically change and how can I be part of that in the world? First of all, follow your passion. If your passion is in something that is either consensus or not, like, great, go do that. But also, I think, ask yourself, how big can this be? How important can this be? How much impact can I have? And it's, I think, often the case that you can come up with all these reasons why something won't work, and our brains go there first. And what people need to do more of is dream and actually ask themselves, if this could work, what could be possible? And then to see, okay, can it work? So I would encourage you all to think like that too.
Very inspiring. I've one more question for you. So we have thousands of hackers here in the audience. At one point, you were a hacker yourself, participating in these hackathons. If you were here at CalHacks today and you had 36 hours to build something, what would that project be? Where would you be applying yourself?
Alex, I've got a bunch of things in Figma Make I want to see improved. I'll be working on that. They're little features, but I would be going into the code base and taking those 36 hours to go do that, or to figure out what are the things that we can do to make even better. And hopefully some of you got to use it during the hackathon. We gave it out to everybody. So excited to hear your feedback always. We're always trying to grow at Figma. And yeah, I'm just so honored to be here to see some of what y'all are working on, and just always wishing you the best. I do have one ask for the audience before we go. Would y'all be down to take a selfie? Okay, I know everyone's going on a low sleep. If you're down to stand up with us so we can get a selfie with everybody, it'd be really cool. Thank you again.